Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they've died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You have to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to brick! You can't make me do anything like Chris!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. And he calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.
Yeah, what's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome to another live show. That's right. The Whiteologist is back in the building. First and foremost, want to say what's good to the subscribers that should be in the live audience. What's good, fam? Those who passing by, welcome to the channel. Shop around, see if you like something. Subscribe. hit that like button, comment. Agents, I don't need no speech. You know what it is. You know, y'all, what it takes. I've been trying my best to move this channel up to get it to a earlier time, but it seems like that is not in the schedule at the moment. What I have is in the works, trying to figure out a much better way to do it, even though this channel is kind of stagnant, as y'all can see. I'm not down. I'm going to still be persistent and do what I must do. Again, eventually, you know, persistence maybe pays off. But not just, it is what it is. It's going against the grain, and I expect that. So anyway, you know, like I said, it's just the world of the bubble that keeps on turning. And as every day turns, there's more things that's happening. People are coming to this planet, and people are leaving. And so, before I get into that, you know I must get the spiel out. Hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Mind. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, translate, reiterate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, web publications, or videos, or websites, or quotes from publications. As I articulate these informations, I ask that the creator of the universe be present. As a descendant of the people who are the greatest people who ever created this land that we call the United States, I give honor, because what else you going to do when you are the greatest people from the greatest descendant people and everybody hates you? You must give honor. So on this channel, that's what we do. We give honor to those. Because why? Because the truth don't need no partner. And you know what my motto is? I'm not going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. Again, holidays. People get depressed around this time, right? Because, you know, they're trying to get themselves in the seasonal spirit for those who celebrate that, because again, people are relying on, and especially we got little ones and grandchildren and so forth, people are trying to appease, right? You know how the other thing. This is basically the time of the year where you actually get to see family, because people get off and so forth, so allow them to travel. And so what primarily happens again is when you don't be with each other all the time, right? And time has seeped past or through, and you know, you had some kind of, you know, let's say misunderstandings through the ordeal of a family. You know how that goes. And so what happens during these holiday seasons? You know what happens. You get there, you get a little drunk, you eat and everything. Maybe you don't get drunk, but you drink, right? And you know how it is. People who clash, you know, because again, in families, you know, you have favorites, you got the black sheep, you got all kind of stuff in a family. You know, that's what makes families, right? But when these certain holidays get together, this is when you know, everybody comes together and formulate to spend this quality time with each other. But that's some of the time, this is some of the things that never get out, and they don't get to see each other, and then when they get this confrontation, it kind of falls out, right? Well, this particular first story that I'm going to go with, start the show off with, kind of happened. It happened, you know, Thanksgiving had already passed, but it had hit the news. And I thought it was kind of like, you know, I won't say funny, but let's just let you see, and then I'll come back after that. Check it out.
This North Carolina father is accused of shooting his son on Thanksgiving during a heated argument over NFL players kneeling during the national anthem. 51-year-old Jorge Luis Valencia Lamadrid told officers the family just sat down for dinner at his home in Cary when his two sons started arguing about the protests. According to search warrants obtained by WNCN, he said his 21-year-old son Esteban physically attacked his other son. That's when he went to grab a shotgun. He claims Esteban threw water bottles at his face, which caused him to pull the trigger and fire a shot. Esteban was shot in the hand and leg, treated at a nearby hospital, and is said to be okay. The father is charged with aggravated assault. Matt Urish for CBS Local News.
Okay, so we start the show off, as I kind of led you up to it. The Thanksgiving celebration, you know how it is. Those people who participate in that, or you done got yourself out of it, but you know how that whole scenario goes. So, you know, the women in the kitchen, they cooking and so forth. When the men get together, you know, they shooting a little shit with each other and watching some football, some kind of sporting events, right? And due to what's going on in the NFL, a lot of people kind of don't watch anymore, but I guess those who still do, you know, the incident about the kneeling is still, seems like it's still going on. And so what ended up happening was this, you know, sons had different opinions about the kneeling, right? But let me give you a little bit of background of that again anyway. This is from Cary, North Cackalack. You know, North Cackalack is North Carolina, right? It said that the police in North Cackalack said a man shot and wounded his son on Thanksgiving after a heated fight about the NFL athletes kneeling during the national anthem. Cary police said 21-year-old Esteban Marley Valencia and his brother argued during dinner about the athletes' protest of the racial injustice. News outlets report 51-year-old Jorge Luis Valencia Lamandred, you know Spanish be having them long names, don't they, told officers Valencia then physically attacked his other son, so he retrieved a shotgun. All right, now you know you heard all that in the video, but again I got to reiterate this, right? Valencia Lamandred said Valencia started throwing furniture and hit him in the face with a water bottle, and he said he had been holding the gun by his pistol grip and squeezed the trigger. Valencia said he was shot in the hand and leg. He was taken to a hospital for treatment, right? So, again, what makes a father, if these both his sons, why he going to get the grip? Why he going to get the goddamn it? Huh? You know, as a father, you should be able to step in again like, okay, look, let's use some wisdom here. You making a point, but I'm going to give y'all the wisdom. So we can, you know, again, we trying to make this couple, we're trying to make this work. You know, everybody, family here, we don't need this. We don't need no police coming here. But he go get the shotgun. That's not a good sight. That's not a good way to handle the situation. So he said he was holding the handle when, you know, somehow the handle was squeezed and he bust the bucks in the hands and in the knee, right? Now, based on that itself, again, different opinions. Seems like one was for it and one is against it. Huh? So I have to wonder, when they say sons, is this son really biological? You get what I'm saying? Think about it. You got biological, you gonna go pull the goddamn it out on them? Because there's some difference between you and other son, or this son here is really biological and this one here, you know what I'm saying? This might have been my old lady that slipped up and went somewhere and made a baby, and I still got grudge, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll take you off the planet. You mess with mine. You understand? So you gotta understand what could take it there, because he throwing furniture. He even throwing a water bottle at the pops. So I have to wonder is how legitimate is this anyway? We have to take it with the words they give us. But again, that old holiday, how it goes. People get together, get a little tipsy, get a little high. Animosity comes out. That's why they say don't talk about religion and politics, especially amongst family. You get to find the fangs and the teeth coming out. And so what happened? Pop said he refereed, and he said he pulled out the pipe. Like, man, y'all gonna sit y'all ass down with this bullshit. But matter of fact, one for then they almost got dead. Right? So again, these holidays, and always when family get together, always gonna be a little fuck shit happening, right? But luckily, nothing seriously other than the fact that this is going to linger in that family. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be messing with them too much anymore. And that's going to always have that little grudge and that wedge for the rest of the duration of his life. So I just kind of read in between. I think that maybe that son ain't as much as biological as we might be thinking. I don't know why you pull the goddamn it out when that's your son. You should be able to, you know, impart some wisdom and some words to try to rectify the situation, you know, actually de-escalate it, right? But it seemed like he was like, no. He went in and got it. So anyway, that's the starting off the show with. We start off with a little bit of that, right? So, you know, how about this here? You know, because I'm looking at this situation too. Okay, so you see the patriotism, right? Basically, we must say that if we didn't get the ins and outs to that story, because we don't know whether the son that got shot was for kneeling or against it. We don't actually understand. So somewhere there's some patriotism in that house, right? Somebody was like, they out here kneeling and doing all that shit. We ain't for that shit, right? So there's a certain aspect to the so there's an aspect to, you know, where I got noise in my background here, so y'all. So if I'm off a little bit, it's because of stuff going in here. So again, the patriotism and stuff that was going down, and so what I'm saying is this. So patriotism somewhere was involved in that. So again, you know how in this country the patriotism of the red, white, and blue, you know, those who consider themselves to be the true blue Americans. And then we have this thing that's going over on the borders that they keep reporting about. They keep talking about, you know, these people are coming in, they don't want them in, and they kind of saying, well, you know, this is some of the riffraff and all this other stuff. And, you know, you kind of observing it. You know, I kind of been playing a little bit here and there about what's going down. So today I seen a story that came up, and I'm like, okay, when I looked at this story, I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's do this. So let me give you this part first, because again, we got to get to the crux of it. So I'll do this first. Let me do this first, and then we'll come back, right? And then I'll get to the next part. This here will be just to show that, okay, because some people may be not understanding, well, why is all these people kind of migrating and coming this way? What's really going on? You know, maybe you don't get into anything outside the country, right? You glean a little bit here and there. You don't really know. But so there was something that was put out there, and I seen it. I said, okay, well, let me bring it to the show. Let me show. So check this out, and I'll come back.
A supermarket in Caracas, empty and hollow. Many shelves have been left empty as the country struggles to deal with its worst economic crisis. In the last 3 years, the economy has shrunk by a third. The government blames US-led sanctions, but the widespread view is that this is more the result of the mismanagement of the country's vast oil resources. With little food in supermarkets, it's here where Venezuelans come to find what they need: street markets. But prices here rise fast. This farmers' market is an example of hyperinflation here. That white board there had prices which have doubled or tripled in less than a month. Take tomatoes. At the beginning of the time I was in Caracas, they were sold for 45 bolivars. A few weeks later, this had risen to 100, which is 122% higher. The same with eggs. In a matter of weeks, they became 50% more expensive, passing from 32 to 48 bolivars. Economists say that it's a mixture of shortages and the lack of production from the private sector that is affecting prices in the country.
One day you find a price and the next day it's changed.
We have to do miracles here. I'm 92 and I have to shop around different places to find better prices.
We don't know who's in charge of this mess, but we have to eat, so we have to take this.
As I was in Caracas, I did manage to find a supermarket with some food on its shelves. But this told me another story about the country's current economy.
In a country with regular shortages and incredible levels of inflation, you can also find extraordinary distortions. So take, for instance, pasta, which is regulated by the state. It costs 1 cent of a US dollar. If you walk further down the shelves, you can find other goods which you may not need on a regular basis, like, let's say, slices of Victoria sponge. But this costs 2,000% more than the pasta, which is regulated by the state. And then you have the supply chain, which for shops like these is incredibly uncertain. One day, there are no eggs, there's no milk. And another day, you can only find toilet paper in every single shelf, and shops simply don't know what to do with it.
Venezuela's inflation is already mind-boggling. The IMF already thinks it will close 2018 above 1 million %. And next year, the IMF's economists think it could be 10 times higher. Vladimir Hernandez, BBC News, Caracas.
Okay, so that's Venezuela, right? And you see that the inflation is skyrocketing as to its, you know, if you poor in Venezuela, you ain't gonna be able to purchase anything to eat, right? You know, they had a lot of turmoil over there since after Hugo Chavez had got poisoned, and right, he got poisoned, right? And so we see that this migrants of people are coming from places like Venezuela and so forth, right? And they're coming this way, right? And due to the so-called international policies of about being a migrant in this, there's criteria that, again, we go back to a couple of shows, we talked about that, right? We see what the criteria, the 3 criteria that will make you qualified to even try to come into the country. So a lot of them say, well, we fit in some of that, right? So they all figured out, well, okay. And then there's some other hidden hands aspect that, you know, as a nation, we might have our hands tied in there, right? But you have to do your research about that. So I'm just saying, they're coming up, and so other people seeing it, so well, let me get involved in this, right? So I seen this story today, going along with that, and that's telling you why some of them coming, because again, inflationary, right? And it's the cost of food is exorbitant to the fact that they can't afford. They need work and all that other stuff, right? Now, so then they showed this today, right? They showed this. Now check this one out.
Fox News alert, border agents arrest an MS-13 gang member traveling apparently with one of the migrant caravans as the Department of Homeland Security warns this problem will only get worse.
Rodney Scott is the chief patrol agent at the San Diego sector, U.S. Border Patrol. He joins us now with the latest. Rodney, I'm watching last night and I'm seeing that the wall's been effective really since Sunday as a deterrent. But it turns out there's a whole group going around the wall. How far do they have to travel to get around that barrier?
So that's a great question. Again, thank you for having me on this morning. We're in the process here in San Diego of upgrading a legacy dilapidated scrap metal fence with a new border wall, but that project is ongoing. So currently, within a couple hundred yards of the San Ysidro port of entry going to the east, we have that old fence that's only a few feet high. Then we have about 9 miles of the new border wall completed. And then again, less than 14 miles away from the beach, we have no fencing whatsoever.
Unbelievable. It's inexcusable.
Let's talk a little bit about this member who he identified himself as, I used to be an MS-13. 29-year-old Jose Villalobos Jobel, apparently from Honduras. He was caught over in Calexico area, El Centro sector. Was he part of the caravan in Tijuana and just went out that way, or from one of the other caravans?
No, it's hard to say, to be quite honest. One of the best ways we identify the caravan members is by their own admission. We do work with the government of Mexico and a lot of NGOs to try to get more evidence behind that, but for the most part, it's based on their own statements.
Okay, we know.
My belief Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So let's talk about some of the troops that are down there, because the president says he might extend deployment for thousands of active duty troops. We were told they were going to be able to go home for Christmas, and he says if the problem still exists there, because some of these migrant workers say they're going to be there for months because they can't get asylum or can't be processed that quickly to get through to the United States. He says that he might have to keep the troops down there till January. Can you elaborate on this?
So I can't really speak to the negotiations between DOD and DHS. My job as the chief here is to outline my requirements. The situation here is actually worse than it was last Sunday. Another 1,200 migrants have showed up in Tijuana. We've also started to get into our rainy season. It's actually raining right now in San Diego, which is fairly rare, and it's starting to cool off. So we're going to monitor the situation daily, and I'll push my requirements up to Washington, D.C. and let them negotiate that.
So we know they said there's about 600 criminals within these caravans, and then we find out one of them is MS-13. What do your reconnaissance tell you about who else might be in there?
So I want to highlight the 600 criminals as well. There's a lot of law enforcement techniques on how we figure that out, but those are primarily people that have been in the United States in the past, and we've been able to get some kind of a criminal history on them. Getting criminal history on individuals in other countries is quite difficult, and also it's by admission. So we had the MS-13 member you mentioned. There's another 18th Street gang member, self-professed, claims to have murdered somebody and been in prison before, but tracking down those records is difficult.
Yeah. Chief, over the weekend, of course, that's when hundreds of migrants ran toward the U.S. border. A number of them threw projectiles or rocks at the agents, the Border Patrol agents there. What's the reaction to the agents there in your sector about perhaps another encounter like that?
So we're preparing accordingly. We watched this migrant caravan, which is different than any other just by volume and the propensity for violence. We watched them violently push across 2 international borders and come up through Mexico. So we did significant intel briefings with our personnel and made sure that we were ready with the right equipment. And then we're basing off of Sunday. We've made some adjustments to our enforcement, and we're going to be ready if it comes back again.
Okay. All right.
Do you mind if I ask what adjustments? Can you talk about that you've made?
I won't get into the specifics, but in every incident like this, we do a quick after-action review. Mm-hmm. We've identified some vulnerabilities in the border that the Department of Defense is helping us mitigate currently, as I speak, actually. We've also looked at our deployment methods and the hot spots. Working with our partners in Mexico, we're trying to make sure we have Mexican police pre-deployed in some of our more vulnerable areas. You saw the Tijuana River Channel where there's really no border barrier at all. That's one of the areas that we're trying to make sure that we have a 24/7 presence. Sure. And then we also have 24-hour surveillance, aerial surveillance over the area now, so we can see any movement of personnel.
You're basically saying, hey, you'll do the best job you possibly can, but it would certainly help to have some type of physical barrier there to aid you in your effort, and Congress just can't get their act together. Rodney Scott, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Okay, so in that particular clip, you see that they talk about the one MS-13, right? And they said about 600 criminals, right? So that might be true that there's a MS-13 and there's people who have been classified as criminals again, because again, you can put a title. Like, let's say for yourself, let's say that you coming up, you got arrested. Hey, some minor thing. Maybe you bust some window or something, right? Got the disorderly or something like that, right? If I said you're a criminal because you went to you got locked up, right? You had to sit in court to do your case or whatever, right? Could I say you're a criminal, and would that still cover that you were a criminal? Because even though something's minor or something like that, but again, I get to use the word criminal on you, right? So to say 600 criminals, so what I'm saying is, are they feeding to the American public a kind of a scare? Like, we better do something and put this wall up, right? Right? Think about that. Is this more about trying to get people saying to put this wall up because there's danger? I'm not saying that there's possibility there's people that's mixed in there, again, some of the riff-raff and that, because primarily it seems like it's more men. As much as they had showed at one time, they were showing more about women and children, but I think it's more men. And basically, if you think about what I showed a couple of nights, those who've seen, when we talk about the civic core group and the GEO core again. So if they catch these cats, they're actually getting some cannon fodder to put into the system so that they can get some more workers. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of got another catch to that. But again, I'm looking at the fact that they keep saying these criminals, these on MS-13, right? You only got one, right? You got one. I'm not saying whether. I'm just saying you're using that again psychologically, propaganda, and trying to get the American people all up into, look, we need to, and they talk about Congress, we need, right? So it's about that wall. I'm not saying that there's not a possibility you don't want to go to sleep at night with your door wide the hell open, right? I get that. I'm just saying, look like you're more propagating to the nation, so the push can be, let's get this damn wall up, right? But again, if the game is, if the game of your policy of your game is about migration and immigration and the policies, well, that's what they're using. Because again, there's something that'll happen in their land that they feel like, well, we're going to come here. And as time goes on in these days, eventually that will trickle into all that, but I ain't going to give it all tonight. So, that's the second part of that story, right? So, another thing here I want to talk about is, so since again, patriotism, then we're talking about the border, right? And then the American pride, right? What is the American pride in here, right? You know, back in the 60s, they talk about when they first went and landed on the moon, right? One step for mankind, one, right? Remember that thing? So today, did you hear what happened today with the NASA? Did you hear what happened with NASA today? Matter of fact, need to put an M on there, not NASA, but Massa, right? Put it with Massa, right? So let me show you what happened today with that.
The successful landing of NASA's InSight marks the space agency's return to Mars, an $814 million mission that came down to a touchdown after traveling 300 million miles.
No, we call it 7 minutes of terror because you white knuckle it the whole time.
Launching in May, the first mission to study the interior of Mars, InSight hit 3,000 degrees, using a heat shield, parachute, and rockets to slow its descent from 12,000 to 5 miles an hour.
What the team pulled off today is truly historic.
Tonight, InSight has finished its harrowing journey, a first dusty look as it begins its groundbreaking work on Mars. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
NASA done went and said they claimed they done got on Mars. Really? I don't know if that's good for everybody else, because that just said, shit, you done already taught one fucking planet. You know what I'm saying? You done already taught one fucking planet. You gonna go to another one and start the same shit all over again? But again, I remember when we were coming up and going to school, didn't they tell us something about some Van Halen belt that your ass couldn't get through? And that you can't get out, but they keep telling us they all over there in Mars. And he talking about, he said 300 million miles. How did you calculate that if you never... no, don't pay no attention to me. I'm just talking. Because, you know, I know there's some science, mother. But, Mr. Boy, you don't know about science. And man, look. I see, matter of fact, I'm gonna show, no, let me show you this. For those who ain't never seen. There's a movie that O.J. Simpson played in back in the 70s called Capricorn 1. Anybody seen that movie? Go, if you can find it, find Capricorn 1. And in Capricorn 1, it was O.J. Simpson and two white men. and they was astronauts, and they got into the spaceship. And when they got in, because they had everybody, you know, watching from TV and all that stuff, but then it was them who actually was in there. And when they got in, they went through the back door, got in the van, and rolled off into the damn desert. And when they got into the desert, they got into this Hollywood type of, you know, let's say, studio, and went in there, and then they're going to record like their ass took off, because you're going to see the spaceship go up, and then they're going to be in there. So, based on the conversation, because they realized they were lying to the people, so they decided they ain't going to try to, like, you know, man, you know what? He sent codes to his wife, because they had a conversation like they was, you know, they was in space, and then their wives came and they was talking to him. So you know if you're in a relationship, when you've been with somebody long enough, there's certain things you could talk. Like if you was in a situation, there's certain things you could say that could be coded that only you and that person would know. So that's what one of them was doing. So they kind of, you know, erupted like, okay, something went wrong. And then they was like, well, we lost contact and so forth. So now they got to kill them. So the movie is they now trying to escape, going through the desert. You know, OJ gonna get it because, you know, he the black man. You know the black man in any damn movie gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get it. So he called it white man. And then the one that got back, he gets back to the funeral. Show up and shit. When everybody thought they was dead, here he come and shit. And that's how the movie ends. Capricorn 1. If you can find it, check it out. So, what you say, Mr. Bloody Man? Are you trying to say this? I'm just telling you, go watch Capricorn 1. Huh? Go watch Capricorn 1. I'm trying to figure out how I'm up and getting to Mars. Huh? Every time you show the damn moon, you seem like to be on the outside of something, but never on the damn moon. You know they fucked up when they put that damn flag and that shit was waving in the air when they told us they had no air. Remember that shit said, ain't no air in space, but the goddamn flag was waving, huh? Had the cinematography pros to it, right? Had to look good. It was the American flag waving and no air. Like, how the fuck is the motherfucker how's doing that shit, right? But that's what they want to tell us. So today they will say they got on Mars. Well, I'm saying, well, fuck it. That ain't a good thing. Especially for those who of us are the DOS of this land. You gonna get another planet, Massa? Oh shit! We ain't going there with Massa. You know what I'm saying? You go to Mars, right? That will take your ass to Mars, right? Go ahead, take your ass to Mars, right? When they talk about the planet and bleeding and blood and all that, okay, you go ahead, take your ass on there. We'll watch you. Go on. Yeah, I know. You know, it's getting to the place where it's getting hot on here. I guess you got to find somewhere else to go. So anyway, that's what happened with NASA today. They talked about. Now, this story here. Well, put it like this. You know how like those. You know somebody like you go to a store, right? Right. You go to a store, and you know somebody who work in there. You know, and you kind of cool with them. You be like, hey, give me that hookup. You know what I'm saying? Make some little deal with us sometimes. And depending on what kind of job it is, there's an aspect where you be like, man, you can't do that shit, man. You fuck my job up, right? Like, nah, man. I can't do that kind of shit, man. You fuck my job up. I'll lie to get fired. And there's some people who be like, man, fuck it, you my boy or you my girl, and we gonna do this, and the consequences, okay, I just live with it. Okay. Now, that's a choice, right? That's a choice you got to make. Now, when we look at criminal enterprises and how you have to be smart, to be a criminal, you can't be stupid. You got to be smart. You got to be innovative. You got to come up with ways to do things, to be undetected, to get your enterprise, your business off, right? So somebody decided to pull some shit like this. Now, check this out, and I'll be back. Check this out.
New at 4, 16 postal workers in Atlanta are behind bars for delivering more than just the mail. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the postal workers took bribes to deliver cocaine and marijuana back in 2015. They say the drug traffickers bribed the postal workers, sometimes with amounts as low as $250. The workers found guilty range in age from 26 to 64. They got sentences of 3 to 9 years in federal prison.
Second part to that, so I don't know what happened to that part. Oh, okay, I didn't do that right. Okay, my fault, y'all. So here's the story to that. So hold on, here we go. Drug traffickers bribe postal workers to deliver cocaine during their mail run. You know I'm gonna say that again. Postal workers to deliver cocaine during their mail run. This story was done November 29, 2018 from CNN, and this is how it reads. 16 U.S. Postal Service workers got sentences of between 3 to 9 years in federal prison for accepting bribes to deliver cocaine on their routes in Atlanta. Drug traffickers bribed the postal workers, sometimes with an amount of $250 to deliver drugs to designated addresses, the U.S. Attorney Office said in a statement this week. U.S. Postal Service workers are typically valuable members of the community and trusted to deliver the mail every day to our homes. U.S. Attorney Byung J. Pak said, this important operation identified and prosecuted 16 corrupt individuals who chose to abuse that trust and instead used their position to bring what they thought were large amounts of dangerous drugs into those same communities. For a federal agent learned about the operation in 2015 while working to take down a drug trafficking organization in Atlanta. Drug traffickers targeted postal workers because their jobs made it less likely for them to be caught by law enforcement officials, federal authorities said. To help pinpoint corrupt workers, federal agents use a confidential source who posed as a trafficker looking for postal employees to deliver cocaine and marijuana. The defendant agreed to deliver the packages and negotiate the amount of the bribe they would charge. While law enforcement agents watched from a distance and recorded the interactions, the U.S. Attorney Office said. The bribes expose innocent postal workers and bystanders on their routes to dangerous substance of rival drug traffickers who try to rob postal workers to steal packages of drugs, federal officials said. Postal employees are paid to deliver mail, not drugs, said Special Agent Amari R. Niles of the United States Postal Service Office of Inspector General. The vast majority of Postal Service, 600,000 employees, are handling trustworthy individuals. The workers found guilty range in age from 26 to 64. In addition to sentencing, they will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in forfeitures and restitution. Okay, so as that story talked about and as the video showed, they said $250. That's what I'm getting per package, and the cost. I mean, did they not even think about? Wait a minute. One, this Fed. You know how you kind of learned that coming up, like you fuck with that mail and shit. That's a federal crime, right? You knew that shit, like try to steal a credit card, some shit. Somebody check. People used to do that back in the day. We come from where I come from. What we're gonna watch the mailman on day, first of the month. Wake up. It's the first of the month, right? They know that check coming in that damn mailbox. They used to put it in the mailbox. Some mother tries, get it in the mailbox. But that's a federal crime, right? So somebody came with the grandiose idea, like, man, you know what? We get some mailman, we could do some delivery service, and it would be undetected because you don't see the mailman getting pulled over by the police because they kind of same on the, they government, right? They working for the same operation. It was a grandiose idea, but they always infiltrating. There's always somebody in there that might not be who you think it is, and word done got back, and end up fucking around, they giving it to a Fed, and you're like, okay, I'ma do it. And they setting that ass up. Now, for $250, no, I don't know how many times they done got it, because if that was the minimum, if that was the max, man, you couldn't have got me to do no shit like that for no $250. You know what I'm saying? It was too much on the line to be low, unless you just got the job and you ain't, you know what I'm saying, you building up. Maybe you tried it, but if you done, you know, again, post office kind of the black, you know, there's certain things that, you know, post office is pretty much bad. That's why they say the post office, they say the mailing shit be all slow and shit, because they say we be the one running that shit, right? So it be all fucked up because we running it, right? So, you know, with that, a lot of people start saying that kind of job because they got the benefits and all that other stuff. So, you know, so anyway, I can't believe that, you know, for that, when you're talking about a mail run, to get that kind of time, you got 3 to 9. 3 to 9. Hope it was worth it, right? Because you lost out everything just for that. But maybe it was an offer they couldn't refuse. You know what I'm saying? Somebody came to them, offer they couldn't refuse. Maybe them themselves probably was using, and this was, because $250, think about $250. Maybe they was, you know, they was using, right? And say, since you using, saying I get $250, but I'm, you know, on the pack, whatever how that went down. But at the end, you look at what you holding. See, sometimes them hookups ain't worth it when you got to put it on the scales and figure out how to balance it. Is it worth this or that? You know, but again, that was done. It was in Atlanta, so you know who they were. Most likely 8 out of 10, you know who they were. So again, moving on. What else I got in here for you? Well, let's say this one. Okay. Okay, I got this one for you. Okay, well, you know, a lot of men out here today, brothers in particular, you know what I'm saying? We normally don't have problem with libido, right? But we know that we stealthily being touched, right? There's somebody infiltrating in the water. Matter of fact, they call it atrazine. You ever heard of that, atrazine? Atrazine is that stuff they saying that they finally put it in the frog, and the kind of frog was kind of becoming a little homosexual, right? He becoming gay, right? So that's why you see this effeminateness that's happening a lot, rampant in some of the, you know, some of our little young brothers out here and stuff, because they say the atrazine, right? So, okay, so that is killing the libido. They turning that way. So they got some other stuff that now, okay, you know, people are getting, you know, having what they call erectile dysfunction, right? You know, so when that is kind of your problem, what you do is you're trying to find something to give you some assistance, right? So, you know, they start coming up with Viagra and Cialis, right? And there's this other thing they came out with that I seen out here. I was like, what is this shit, right? So let me play this, and I'll come back.
A lawsuit that was filed today is going after dozens of local Sunoco gas stations.
The suit is accusing the operators of those gas stations of selling dangerous male enhancement drugs over the counter. 7
Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has the story.
Named in the lawsuit are 62 Sunoco locations around Metro Detroit, including this one where a worker tells us that they stopped selling Rhino a while ago after they heard about the lawsuit.
Now, the problem itself isn't limited just to Sunoco stations, but we see more than any other category here in Detroit that Sunoco stations are selling these products.
Attorney Robert Towler blasting dozens of Sunoco stations in Metro Detroit for selling what he says are dangerous supplements being billed as all-natural pills for male enhancement. They're sold under names like Rhino 8 and Black Mamba, and Towler says their investigation shows they can contain antidepressants, lead, and arsenic, and also sildenafil, an ingredient in Viagra. And without a doctor's supervision, Towler says the outcome can include stroke and even death.
Another client, for example, in Southern California, who had a penile replacement surgery, 25 hours in the hospital, life or death surgery, and he barely survived, and now he has a replacement penis, which is a prosthetic.
Taller is representing a company known as Outlaw Laboratory, which makes what they claim is a safe product for male enhancement. And they're going after the owners of the Sunoco gas stations that sell the Rhino branded products here in our area.
These are high margin products, so on a bag of Skittles, they may make 50 cents. On a product like this, which they buy for $1 or $2 and sell for $10, they're making $8 a pop. They don't care about who they hurt. They only care about the money they can make, and that's wrong.
And at least another lawsuit may be coming, this one from the family of a Detroit man who says he died after having a heart attack while taking these male enhancement products. In Southfield, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Sunoco just released this statement. It says, we're not aware of any lawsuit by Outlaw Laboratory in which Sunoco LP or any of our corporate entities have been named at this time. The lawsuit names independent retailers who sell Sunoco branded fuel or did at one time. They are not owned or operated by Sunoco LP or any of its corporate entities.
Rhino sex enhancement pill can cause prolonged erections. FDA warns? You know I'm going to say that again. Rhino sex enhancement pill can cause prolonged erections. FDA warns. This story was done November 28, 2018. And this is how it reads. The Food and Drug Administration has issued a stiff warning about a black market male enhancement pill that causes prolonged erections. The dubious drug is sold under variations of the name Rhino at gas stations and convenience stores, usually in single-dose package. But it contains potentially dangerous ingredients, including some not listed on the package. Some of the hidden ingredients are similar to those found in prescription erectile dysfunctional pills, Viagra and Cialis. The FDA said it received reports of people who experienced chest pains, severe headaches, and extended erections after taking Rhino pills. Some cases resulted in surgical intervention and hospitalization due to extreme drop in blood pressure, the agency said. More than 25 different Rhino products sold under names like Platinum Rhino 25,000, Crazy Rhino 25,000, and Gold Rhino 25,000 have been identified as containing secret ingredients. The pills are also sold on eBay and Amazon. The hidden ingredients are phosphodiesterase type 5 inhibitors, which could interact with nitrate and prescription drugs used to treat people with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or heart disease, the FDA warned. Over the past few years, the FDA has been combating the retail sale of male enhancement drug products that are frequently misrepresented as dietary supplements and that contains hidden and potentially harmful active drug ingredients, said Donald D. Ashley, Director of Office of Compliance in the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, in a statement. Last month, a South Korean national believed to be living in the Los Angeles area illegally was busted for smuggling drugs in order to produce shady male enhancement pills. Nam Yoon Lee, 60, had been illegally importing tadalafil and sildenafil citrate, active ingredients found in Cialis and Viagra, from Hong Kong and China, and using them to create non-prescription herbal male sexual enhancement products, according to the Department of Justice. The pills were sold under names like Rhino, Organzan, Black Panther, Libigro, Black Stallion, and Black Mamba. Yeah, ancient Chinese secret, huh? Remember that? Ancient Chinese secret, huh? So they got these pills that they sell at the gas station. Now you know why they're at the gas station, because that's in the hood, right? And you know, for those when you used to, you know, make your little mark, you had to stop by the gas station. You know, there was a couple things you picked up before you was going to make your journey. So I guess some things stay the same, they don't change. They just change the name, but the game stays the same. So they got this stuff, and again, they say FDA, they say that it has extended long, what it says, erection. And you gonna say that's making them run to that. They run because that's why they're getting it. They want to, you know what I'm saying? You know, the prowess for some, again, when you don't have a, you know, a top head, you know, when you got a little head, you know, they think that's where their prowess is at. I have stamina and you know, I'm trying to drop the bottom out, right? But at what cost? Because if you look at some of the stuff we were talking about, heart and kidney, I mean, diabetes, well, all that stuff that was being said sound like that's contributed to like black people problem, right? That's some of the stuff we #1 in. So I wonder who's targeting that, and then now to come to find out that this stuff is going to have some detrimental effects for those, and hopefully nobody in here listening took none of that shit. But if you did, you know, hopefully you don't get none of the effects of it. But again, you know, it's kind of like when you looked at Roots, right? Remember when Toby, after he ran, he kept running, and it's like, all right, the master came to him and was like, he had the axe in his head. He told him, what you want, your foot or you want that? Shit, he'd say, take the foot. So the same thing. No matter what you tell him, if it come down to that, if I got the data have a good erection, you're going to be a lot of men like, I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that for the win, Chuck. You know what I'm saying? From Wheel of Fortune, I'll take that for the win. And that's what they'll do. Even though the warning might be out here and people know that this is what it is, they're going to be like, I'm still going to roll the dice. It ain't going to be me. Right? But you see who they targeting. So, you know, it's out there. You know, I don't get you all too deep into the story. I'm just going to give it to you for something you hear. You want some more information, you go research it. But I just can't say I did put it out there for you to see. Now, we'll move on to the next story. Matter of fact, while on the topic of this erection, man, you know, some of you know, depending on who listening, man, when you was in high school, right? Oh, the fun of high school, right? Depending on what side of it you were on. You could have been the emos, what they call today, right? That's the out crowd, the one that nobody reported. They kind of, you know, they smoked, you know, hung out with this little druid. And then you was either was participating in activities, you was in sports, or you was kind of, you know, the popular. It just kind of depends, right? You know, high school. Oh, you know what I'm saying? When you first got to high school, you was like, oh man, some of the best time of my life is gonna be in high school. Four best years of your life until, you know, if you had to be able to go to college, okay, then that you get extended. But what's happening? I seen this story today. I was like, what? Really? They done changed. If that shit was happening, I sure didn't know nothing about it. And I'm telling you, I wasn't no emo clown. I was in the athletic crowd. You understand? So I'm saying, what's this shit here? So let me show you something and come back. Let me show you this and then I'll come back.
High school football players in Maryland could face life in prison after being charged with raping some of their teammates. The 15-year-olds are accused of assaulting 4 freshmen on the junior varsity team. Now, it allegedly happened in the locker room at Damascus High School in Montgomery County. Now, that is just outside Washington, D.C. Chip Reed has the story, and we caution viewers that details of this report are graphic and very disturbing. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. Prosecutors reportedly called the conduct of the defendants astonishingly cruel and are charging the 4 teens as adults. Attorneys for the teens argue they are only 15, and it was a hazing incident that went to an extreme.
A 3rd straight state championship for Damascus.
Damascus High School has long been a football powerhouse, but the community is now in shock following charges of first-degree rape against 4 sophomore members of the junior varsity football team. According to the charging documents, the victims told police someone first turned off the lights to the locker room. One victim said 2 of the suspects then threw him onto the floor and that one suspect held his feet down and then pulled his pants down to his knees before one of the suspects violated him with a broomstick. The suspects were laughing, he said, and then proceeded to do the same thing to other male members on the junior varsity football team. One victim began to cry, while another said he was able to stop them. School district officials have referred to the incident as hazing, bullying, or harassment, and have said that physical abuse will not be tolerated and will receive serious consequences.
I'm offended by the term hazing. It's not hazing. These are crimes.
The suspects told them it was a tradition and the brooms started from generations ago. Former Damascus football player David Umanzor says this wasn't his experience while on the team.
Of course, we had her horsing around, but would I ever call it hazing? No, it wasn't hazing. It was just us joking around.
David Felson represents one of the teens accused and wants the case tried in juvenile court.
Being told that you face charges where you could go to jail for the rest of your life is pretty darn intimidating.
Felson told us he has filed a motion for his client to be tried in a juvenile court. All 4 of the young defendants have been released on bond. Bianna?
Chip, thank you.
Maryland high school football players accused of using broomstick in astonishingly cruel assault. You know I'm going to say that again. Maryland high school football players accused of using broomstick in astonishingly cruel assault. This story was done November 29th, 2018, and this is how it reads. 4 high school football players could face life in prison after being charged with raping some of their teammates. The 15-year-old allegedly assaulted 4 freshmen on the junior varsity team in the locker room at Damascus High School in Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C. They are charged with first-degree rape. Prosecutors reportedly called the conduct of the defendants astonishingly cruel and are charging the 4 teens as adults. Reports CBS News correspondent Chip Reed. Attorneys for the teens argue they are only 15 and it was a hazing incident that went to an extreme. According to the charging documents, the victims told police someone first turned off the lights to the locker room. One victim said 2 of the suspects then threw him onto the floor, and that one suspect held his feet down and then pulled his pants down to his knees before one of the suspects violated him with a broomstick. The suspects were laughing, he said, and then proceeded to do the same things to other male members of the junior varsity football team. One victim began to cry, while another said he was able to stop them. School district officials have referred to the incident as hazing, bullying, or harassment, and have said that physical abuse will not be tolerated and will receive serious consequences. I am offended by the term hazing. It's not hazing. These are crimes, said State's Attorney for Montgomery County, John McCarthy. The suspects told them it was a tradition and the broomstick started from generations ago. Former Damascus football player David Umanzor said this wasn't his experience while on the team. Of course, we had our horsing around, but would I ever call it hazing? No. It wasn't hazing, it was just us joking around, Umanzor said. David Felson represents one of the teens accused and wants the case tried in juvenile court. Being told you face charges where you could go to jail for the rest of your life is pretty darn intimidating, Felson said. Felson told CBS News he has filed a motion for his clients to be tried in a juvenile court. All 4 of the boys have been released on bond. Man. What? The broomstick is generations. Huh? So this is passed down. That's some tradition that they got at the Marcus school is they call hazing. I don't know. I'm going to play for motherfuckers talking about put some broomstick in my ass. I'm sorry, y'all. You just got to say it. You going to put a broomstick in my ass so I can play football? I don't think you even got a choice, right? Talking about grabbing you, holding you down. Right. Okay. What part of this part is masculinity? What part is part of the game? Because I don't see that as part of that, right? And maybe, I'm pretty sure most of y'all don't see it as well, but I'm like, how does something like that get introduced into something that has nothing to do with that? You know, it's kind of already the way that, you know, they all padded up and, again, I guess if those who look at it from their perspective, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it kind of leave that door open, you know, because it's kind of like that old slap the ass, you know, when you get a good place, slap that, you know, where did that come from too, right? Was that tradition too? We slap them a good five on the ass and kind of accept it because you didn't think about it, but now it's like, what you slap them on my ass for, right? So, you know, being charged with first-degree rape, it ruined them forever, right? But I see they got bond and they out, but I mean, if they get that, they messed up for the rest, you know what I'm saying? And trying to break that tradition, because I don't know what kind of tradition that is. And again, I guess for those, again, when you take it, because see, I guess the preparation has now trickled back into high school, getting you prepared so when you go to college, you already ready to go ahead if you're going to try to get into one of them frats. Some of y'all know about that, right? Getting you prepared because, again, you know, got some traditions and some hazing that they do. So if you take it starting here, you already prepping ready. But what we going to do to you there? Because, I mean, I've been seeing some videos on YouTube that I seen, you know, again, to anybody who might be participating in that, that don't necessarily mean it's you. But I did see some frat parties of the cute dogs, and it just kind of was not doing some things that I thought that was masculine. Right? Like that one video, I don't like men's no more. Right? That kind of shit, right? So anyway, in high school, hazing, I agree with the district attorney. That's not hazing, man. There's some atrazine. Remember I talking about atrazine about, again, see, I led you from the erectile using the rhino, right? So let's say who would be using that kind of shit? Those are in high school, those going into college, right? You got old men out here and men. You know, sometimes you just, you need some enhancement. Okay. But we talking about that kind of stuff. They getting at the gas station. So here it is. I mean, you young, you supposed to be already viral, right? You supposed to have that vigor. But, you know, again, I mean, if they doing that kind of shit, because they didn't say penetration. They said broomstick, but I'm pretty sure there had to be some penetration too. But they ain't disclosed that. But it was the, you know, the devastatingness of this time I'm putting a broom, which is torture, because if you know about Chicago, you know about the John Burge cases, that's what they were doing, a lot of brothers, to make them confess to crimes. You know what I'm saying? They were beating the shit out of them and then sticking broomsticks in them. You understand? I mean, what kind of sadistic shit you got to have in your mind to be doing that kind of shit anyway? But again, it is what it is. So let me look and see who out in here, see who I got in the crowd tonight. Oh shit, nobody in the house. Oh, tripping. Let's see, Mr. Spencer, 620. What's good to you, brother? Indigenous King is in the house. I know it's late, brother. I said I'm going to try to change. I'm trying, man, but it ain't my schedule just trying to keep forcing me here. Plus, I'm fighting these motherfuckers about some other shit. But I'm going to try to do it, brother. I'm going to try to get out of here and get it going. But I'm glad to see y'all in here, you know, just even listening to a brother, because it kind of seems like they got to make nobody listen, but it's okay. So moving on back onto the show, you know, this story here, this kind of wild, right? This story here, I don't even really. I'm only doing it because let's see. I hope is this the one? I think this the one. I think it is. Because let's put it like this. Okay, I think that. Let me make sure this is the right one though before I play it. Let me make sure this is the right one, because I seen this story, right, and it was like, you know, it got a funny part to it, but it's kind of like, you know, somebody, yeah, you went too far with it. You went way off with it. You had to do all that. It wasn't. This wasn't called for, right? So how about I do this? You know, I do this. I do that afterwards. I do it afterwards. So let's say, you know, again, when you're younger, let's say like we talking about the high school situation. When you're young, you know what I'm saying, there's just certain things, you know, in your body, you know, you're growing, you're starting to, you know, get puberty, and, you know, you're getting hair and all that other stuff, and it's like, you know, you're developing, right? And that's just kind of part of it is when you're young, you even play certain type of games that you don't play when you get older, because you be like, that shit wasn't cool, but when you was younger, it was cool. So what happens when you know, this happened? Let me show you this. I want you to see this. Yeah, so let me show this. Let me show. That's the only way I can show you. I got to show it to you. Look like they're delaying me up a little bit, y'all. Hold on, delaying me up. So let me try this again. There you go. Yeah, it's delaying me up. So let me do this again and see if I can do it from here. That's right. Let's do it. All right, check this out, y'all. Seen that, your eyes did not deceive you.
He might just be the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. 78-year-old Samuel Little currently sits in a...
See, now he's doing some other funny stuff. Now they're doing funny stuff. I don't know why he's doing that. So, as you just seen what you seen, right? Did you read that? Did you really see that? Or do I need to put it up on the screen? Maybe I need to put it on the screen. Let me see if I can do that. Let me see if I can put that image up on the screen. Because did you really see that? I'm going to hide her face a little bit, though. I ain't going to put her out there. But it says, Florida woman farted loudly, threatened to gut man who complained about it, police said. What the... What? Like I say, you know, the kid, man, you know, he kind of played that game a little bit, man. You know, he had some mothers that was deadly with it, man. They had some tricks. They could catch it, shake it up, throw it in your face, you know, all kind of little shit. You know, he did all stupid shit, right? He's a grown-ass woman. You know, somewhere, he was trying to hold it or whatever, it came out. Dude was like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he said he was straight. He was a straight shooter. He was a straight talker. He like Mr. Birdman. Like, damn, you're nasty. You shouldn't go on here. You could at least went around the back of some shit, right? He just did for fucking with it, maybe. Her ass was talking about, nigga, I'll kill you. I'll gut you out like a fish, huh? He talking about killing homie because he said about her fighting your flatulence. Let's use a better word. You had flatulence. Right? You had gas, huh? You know, sometimes when you know, like I said, when you little, you was in class, you know, the worst ones used to be when motherfuckers in class. You know what I'm saying? You sitting there doing some work and somebody blew that silent motherfucker. Like somebody asked, Nasty them up, right? Well, again, that kid shit. Here's a grown woman. Okay, you a little embarrassed. It happens. Matter of fact, I got one for you. How about this? Let me take a little onus off of that. Let's say this how shit goes sometimes, right? Let's do some shit like this, cause you know it happens, man. It's a natural part of life. You ain't got to get trying to kill a motherfucker because somebody caught you doing it. Okay, you're a little embarrassed, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a prime example. You could be in the moment, and it ain't part of it, but it just happens, right? It just happens. Let's see if I can get it up.
$20.
Hold on. What? See, that's what I'm saying, man. I had everything going good, and all of a sudden y'all want to be fucking with me. All right, it's okay. So check this out. Let's see if I can play it. Let's see if I can do it from here. Hey, look at that. Yeah, that's them. Yeah, that's them doing that shit. Yeah, that's them. All right. So check it out. Here you go.
$185. $20. He owe me $20.
About $20.
$20.
He bet you $20. Come on, baby.
Let me see what you got, right?
Ready?
You say you go hit it one time,
One time.
Okay? That was homie, right? Homie trying to lift a little weights. A little bit too much for him, right? It was a little bit too much for him.
Just be the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history.
Now, why is it doing this? This don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? This thing be, I tell you, boy, stuff that sometimes he just doing. I just know it's mama sitting up his ass up in there doing that booty, but it's all good. But again, back to the news. Okay, so here was a woman, right? That happened. You know what I'm saying? Just like homie was sitting there for the pump the weight, you know what I'm saying? You know how it was a little bit too much. They had a bet. He thought he could do it, and he tried to put all into it. And then, you know, creator got a sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? Got to release the air. They just always got a little sound and everybody cracking when they hear it. No matter how old, that never get old, right? That joke never gets old, right? And so here it was, you sensitive. You talking about you going to kill a mug because, you know, you had flashing, you had a little gas. Not necessarily to kill nobody over, but that just showed the psychosis of in your mind that you felt like you need to do some shit like that. So that was in the news today, y'all. I'm like, what are you doing that bullshit? That was in the news. I can't believe the motherfucker even going that low to do some shit like that, but that's what, you know, that people do what they do. All right, so ain't got too much left other than the fact that, what about this here, y'all? This, I got some stuff. It ain't over yet. I just don't want it to do what it's been doing, though. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if I do this, and then do this. Let's see, do this. Okay. So, let's say, right, the word they be saying, cultural appropriation, right? You know, we've been hearing that lately because they say a lot of people has just been trying to actually steal our identity, use it for the purpose that they can get because maybe they struggle in their own, but it seems like, you know, it seems like you could throw everybody over with us, right? You could be half African and everything else, right? You don't have to be full. Anything that would say one drop, they get to get thrown in our group. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how's that so? We don't get no say, like, you know, like if you was out and you was picking, you at the park and you picking up, okay, you shoot the free throw. All right, let me get him. You say, I got him. We don't get to do that. Everybody, just because you got one drop, you get to be over with us, right? So, but we got people now, what they got a term, but you're going to see in this clip that, you know, people are doing. And, you know, some people falling for it because they can't tell, right? You you got to have an eye, or if otherwise, unless your eye is basically on, using Rhino, right? If you're gonna use Rhino, I guess you don't get no fuck, right? Everything's good, right? So here's something right here. Let me show y'all this. Let me see.
Now, with that Instagram model under fire, accused of pretending to be black to get followers and endorsements. ABC's Lindsay Davis is here, and Lindsay, she's denying it, but critics, they're comparing these side-by-side photos.
They are. Good morning to you, Michael. The so-called before and after photos are starkly different, but Emma Hallberg says it's simply because of the time of year that the pictures were taken. And while social media users are accusing her of adopting black culture when it was convenient, she says she never represented herself as anything other than a white Swedish model.
She's a self-proclaimed model and Instagram influencer with 250,000 followers online.
Hey guys, my name is Emma Hallberg.
But this morning, Emma Hallberg, a white teenager, is being accused of pretending to be black to get more followers. A Twitter user posted these two photos of her online, one showing her with much lighter skin and straight hair. The internet went into a tizzy, accusing Hallberg of blackfishing, a term being used to describe someone who's pretending to be black.
I haven't done anything to make myself look darker. I get the tan naturally when I've been in the sun.
Many who say they assumed she was black or biracial are now accusing her of darkening her skin and altering her hair and lips in order to capitalize on beauty trends and get brand endorsements. One person writing, taking deals made for black girls and posing as black to manipulate and boost followers is a big deal. Blackface is a big deal when black people are out here being murdered because of our skin color.
If a large group of people are telling you that something that you're doing is taking advantage of what is ultimately part of a racist legacy in worldwide and in American history, that she should listen to that.
The 19-year-old denies it, saying this was never her intention and her looks are natural.
I cannot change the way I was born because the things I've been accused of and the things people are mad about are things that are natural on me, like my hair, my lips, my nose, my face. I've never claimed to be black or biracial or anything else than white.
She's not the first Insta-celeb to come under fire. Last year, Jaden Gumbayan apologized for perpetuating a culture of appropriation after posting this photo of herself online, accused of wearing blackface after appearing visibly darker in photographs.
Cultural appropriation has become a divisive topic on the internet, with celebrities from Kim Kardashian to Coldplay at times accused of insensitively borrowing from other cultures. But the power of bronzer, borrowing blackness, this is a trend on the internet and has people very upset.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
Robin has lots to say. It will remain in that little
Well, no, the
blurb.
pictures tell the whole story. They do. They tell the whole story.
Yeah, they do.
Thank you, George. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Back to what it's supposed to do now. Now, again, I guess they saying we had the patent on it. You know, our people was, especially our sisters, right? They, what I'm saying? They already fighting to try to be a certain standard, and I get it, right? Mr. Blow Your Mind is coming from me. Hey, I love sisters. Ain't nothing better than y'all. I know some, we're gonna have a problem again. And then, to each his own. That's what it is. And some people like what they seen there. And again, I'm pretty sure Rhino and that is a good mix, right? But that black fishing, they said it's becoming rampant. It's becoming some things that feel like people are just using to get paid, or again, they stealing, right? Someone might say you're stealing men from us and all the other good stuff. But you might feel a certain way. I ain't getting all that because that's not really in my realm. I already did it because of the story, and I know some people has been out here a little bit, kind of a little fresh, a little bit. So I was like, okay. They want to bore y'all with too much of the politics shit tonight. So kind of little fuck shit a little bit tonight. So, it is what it is, right? Some people going to look at that and say, yeah, you need, if you this, and she say she white, and then that's what it is, right? But then there's another side to it, because I seen this shit, and I was like, what's this shit here? Now, this is still on the same line of what we talking about here, or what I just showed here, because I ain't really going to talk too much about that. But I seen this shit here, and I was like, see, this is the abuse of it. Now, what she's doing, some people will accept it, right? Some people would accept it and be like, oh, you know, it's a form of flattery. Or, nah, fuck all that shit. No, it ain't. He's stealing this shit, right? He's stealing. But here's some other shit. It would be the same way if we take that same scenario, what she doing, but would this be in the same boat? Check this out. Would this be the same shit? Would this here be the same as what she was doing?
我怕你不同意。我怎么会不同意呢？年轻的时候是中国援非医疗队救了妈妈的命，现在中国的孩子们来到非洲为我们修铁路，还把我的小卡瑞培养得这么出色。我爱中国人，我爱中国。
阿姨好！呀，太热情了。
老师送给你水果。
谢谢阿姨。
老师啊，卡瑞在家里天天夸奖你。乘务员身份不同了，美得不行了。
改变只是一颗。
Shit was fucked up, wasn't it? People that you seen in that Chinese stereotype, other than the real African that was blowing the little flute, they was African, but the mother was Chinese and blackface. That's what I'm saying. They abuse it. See, either you making fun or you're stealing. There ain't no other way about it. Either you make fun of us or you stealing. So, again, going back to the one prior before that, yeah, our people do have the right. Our women got the right to be like, look, you need to go and be who you is. You know what I'm saying? We got that covered. We don't need no help. Right? What's wrong with you? You try to, well, I don't do anything to be black. It's just a little bit of the tan. But we know how y'all doing. You know, you'll get some spray shit on. I forget, take them shots and the melatonin shots they taking in their stomach, and then, you know, at the time to get a certain, matter of fact, if you go back, a little bit back, I got that video, remember? They're all gonna laugh at you. Remember that video I did when they were sitting there, had a glove, a mitt on, and she was putting on that shit and was rubbing on her whole body and shit. When she got done, she was looking black. Yeah. Well, we know, see, they make fun, but it's really the fact that they wish they had, because, again, melanin, again, they have melanin conferences, right, that we don't be invited to. They're studying it, trying to get it. That's the magic elixir they need, because, again, all the shit that they're dealing with because of melanoma and because of the sun and all that other shit. So, yeah, you make fun of us, and then there's a deep down up inside they kind of honor it, but they don't really show that. They really either, again, you're making fun of it or you stealing from it. So it is what it is, y'all. Now, let's see. I got a little bit more. Not too much left, because I got this one here. Going to pretty much cover. And I got one more after that. So this here is just about what done took place, right? Let's say, let's see. Let's play this here, because, you know, I think it was tragic anyway, what took place. You know, anytime when, you know, a brother getting takeout based on some stuff he ain't did and just happened to be the circumstance of the situation due to somebody else's, really not valuing you and using their job, and then come to find out that shouldn't have had taken place, you can't bring the person back. They gone, right? And ain't no way you could return that. And so this is what happened. I'm pretty sure everybody remember the story. See, look what's going on here. Why is it doing all that? Okay, so I'm going to play these, and then I'll come back. You'll see these. It's going to be in a row, so be a little second, and then I'll be back.
Now to an emotional plea for answers after an Alabama police department admits the man they killed during a mall shooting on Thanksgiving night, quoting now, likely was not the gunman. His family broke down as they described their son and brother, E.J. Bradford Jr., as a loving man who cared for his sick father and thought of others before himself. We are left with more questions than answers at this point during the investigation, with police releasing few details from the incident so far, and his family sharing a heartbreaking account saying police never called to let them know of E.J.'s death. They say they learned everything through social media, and now they are demanding an apology, accountability, and the release of all videos from the incident. Here is one of E.J.'s brothers.
We weren't even contacted. I had to get on Facebook to see a video of him shot, bleeding. No police officers covered him up at all. I would never see him come through the house anymore. Tell him, hey, be careful out in these streets, give him a word of advice or anything, and you guys just took him. In the Hoover Police Department, you guys dropped the ball in a major way. Seriously. And for you not to even call and give your condolences shows what type of character that the mayor and Hoover PD has for our family. This family would never be the same at all. And it hurts me.
CNN's Natasha Chen joins me right now, and then there's deafening silence coming from the police or even the mayor or anyone to respond to this family.
And we've asked a lot of questions to the police over the last couple of days. Still no response to those questions. I also spoke with Benjamin Crump again on the phone. That's the family's attorney after he spoke here on the air within the past hour. Just to clarify that the 18-year-old and 12-year-old who were injured in this incident on Thanksgiving were taken to the hospital. We actually do not know their conditions right now. Now, the Bradford family also said that they have obtained video of the incident that shows exactly what happened and how EJ was shot. Mr. Crump, their attorney, says they're considering releasing this video themselves while also calling on police to release all the surveillance video they have. Now, both of EJ Jr.'s parents are deeply upset, especially because police have not contacted the family since this happened.
It hurts me to the core. My son is gone. I can't get him back. But you vilified my son like he's a straight criminal.
Nobody even took the time or had the decency to notify me of my son's death. Instead, it's flashed all over social media. There is no way that any parent should have to find out the death of their child.
This all started because police said there was a fight of some kind at the mall on Thanksgiving night, resulting in two people being shot, that 18-year-old and 12-year-old. They initially told the public one of their officers working off duty as mall security shot and killed the man responsible. But then they issued a statement late Friday, early Saturday, saying the person they killed, E.J. Bradford Jr., was likely not responsible for injuring the others, but that they believe he was involved somehow in that altercation. Police are still looking for at least one gunman responsible for that shooting. The family's attorney said they're not planning any protest at this moment, but another group is. They will be gathering, Fred, at the Hoover Police Department tomorrow night.
All right, let us know what you learn. Thank you so much. All right, last hour I spoke to prominent civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who is now representing EJ's family, and he was also joined by EJ's father, Emantic Bradford Sr., and here's what they had to say.
It's frustrating because I feel like you should have reached out to me and his mother, but nobody did, and that's not protocol for you just to do something, kill my child and not respond when we calling you.
Mr. Bradford knows his son. Mr. Bradford is battling cancer. He's retiring this week, upcoming, from the Birmingham Police Department. His son would leave work after a full day of working and come and check on his father every day. So Mr. Bradford and his mother, April, knew that this wasn't true about their son shooting somebody. And the whole notion that they would unjustifiably pull the trigger and release this information is almost as worse as the Hoover police officer who unjustifiably saw a black man with a gun and made a decision within milliseconds, according to witnesses, to shoot him in his face. They don't even know if they can have an open casket funeral. And so it's just troubling when you see this pattern, whether it's Jamel Robinson in Chicago or now here in Birmingham, the epicenter of the civil rights movement, where this suggestion by the top leaders in our country that if the good guys had guns, maybe they could help with some of these mass shooters of the bad guys who have guns. Where if you're black and you're a good guy with a gun, the police doesn't see you as a good guy. They just see you as a criminal and they shoot and kill you. And that is what is devastating to Mr. Bradford, who himself is part of the law enforcement family.
The family of a black man killed by police in an Alabama mall on Thanksgiving says he was wrongfully shot. They want the release of all the video from that night. Police killed Amantic Fitzgerald Bradford Jr. after 2 people were wounded in a shooting at the mall. Investigators first said he was responsible, but later said he was likely not the shooter. Hoover police now say at least 1 gunman is still at large. Mark Strassman is in Hoover, Alabama, with what Bradford's family told him. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. Overnight, Bradford was told by Hoover police here that he had brandished a gun right before a police officer shot him, that police had identified him mistakenly as a threat. But his family insists the real reason that Bradford was shot is that he was black.
Amantic would be the one trying to get people out of harm's way. That's the type of person he was.
E.J. Bradford's family says police owe them answers and an apology after their son was mistakenly identified as a gunman at the River Chase Galleria Mall and shot dead by a police officer on Thanksgiving night.
You shoot first, ask questions later. It's backwards.
My peace of mind and my quality of life has been taken from me.
His father, Amantic Bradford Sr., is a police officer himself.
I know my son always respected the police, and if you gave a command when you came around that corner, say freeze, drop your weapon, he'd comply with your order.
Since Thursday's shooting, the local community has rallied around Bradford's family.
No justice, no peace!
On Saturday, the family joined about 200 protesters outside the mall demanding action. Benjamin Crump is the family's attorney.
The pattern in America is if there's a good guy with a gun and he happens to be black, police don't see him as a good guy.
You think E.J. being black meant that he was presumed guilty?
Absolutely.
The family says releasing body camera video and surveillance video would help them heal and could help solve this case.
What do you want?
I want to see the evidence. I want to see the video footage.
You want the truth?
Yes, I want the truth. I want justice for my son.
Attorney Ben Crump told us witnesses said that Bradford had been trying to help out right before he was shot. He was waving witnesses away from the gunshots and away from the shooting, and that a police officer then gunned him down. They also say that police officers gave no verbal commands before opening fire. The police officer who did the shooting has been placed on administrative leave. Bianna?
Yeah, EJ's mom says she wouldn't wish that pain on her worst enemy. Mark, thank you.
In Alabama, an emotional plea for justice today from the family of a young man who was shot and killed at a mall on Thanksgiving by a police officer. The police say he was likely the wrong man, and family members called his killing an assassination. We get more from NBC's Tammy Leitner, and a warning: this story contains video that some may find disturbing.
Release the video.
A family demanding answers.
And it hurts me to the core. My son is gone. I can't get him back. But you vilified my son like he's a straight criminal.
Distraught and confused over police shooting and killing Emantic Bradford Jr.
We weren't even contacted. I had to get on Facebook to see a video of him shot, bleeding.
The 21-year-old shot dead Thanksgiving night by a uniformed police officer working security at an Alabama mall. Police initially fingering Bradford as a suspect, saying he shot an 18-year-old man and a 12-year-old girl during a fight and was seen pointing a gun. The next day, Hoover police admitted they shot the wrong person, saying in part, new evidence now suggests that while Mr. Bradford may have been involved in some aspect of the altercation, he likely did not fire the rounds that injured the 18-year-old victim. This information indicates that there is at least one gunman still at large. Amid protests, the officer involved is now on administrative leave. Bradford's father says his son had a concealed handgun license. But Hoover police and the Alabama law enforcement agency, now leading the investigation, have released little information about the shooting or the suspect still at large, leaving this grief-stricken family to wonder
no parent should have to ever go through this.
When they will get answers. Tammy Leitner, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
Police in Georgia today arrested a suspect in last Thursday's shooting in an Alabama shopping mall. Officers shot and killed an innocent man that night who they initially said was behind the shooting. Here's Mark Strassman.
Police say 20-year-old Aaron Brown is the actual gunman in the Thanksgiving, Alabama mall shooting. Brown has been charged with attempted murder for the shooting spree that left 2 people wounded and the Hoover, Alabama Police Department under fire.
Be advised, the shooter is down at this time.
A responding police officer fatally shot 21-year-old Emantic Bradford Jr., mistaking him for the gunman. Bradford was armed, but had a concealed weapons permit.
They just killed that man in cold blood. They just seen that man had a gun on him. They shot that man down for no reason. Police in Hoover, Alabama later conceded Bradford had never fired his weapon. The officer killed the wrong man. Since then, protesters have been demanding answers and the release of body camera video. So far, investigators have resisted that. Today, Hoover City Councilman Derek Murphy and other city officials said if the state agency investigating the shooting won't release the mall videotape, they might.
In the event we don't receive the information by Monday at noon, the chief will decide whether to release the limited information on his own.
Emantic Bradford Sr. is the victim's father and a retired law enforcement officer.
I want justice for my son. I want the officer that did the shooting held accountable for it.
As the investigation continues, the officer who shot and killed Bradford remains on administrative leave. That said, the city officials here in this community have now apologized to the Bradford parents. On Saturday, Jeff, they will bury their only son.
All right, Mark Strassman, thank you very much.
Okay. You know, those stories are getting harder and harder to do for the simple fact that, you know, when this situation, I mean, they can't really get out of this one. One, he was in the military. 2, he had the concealed. 3, his father was a retired cop. And they're doing everything they can not to have to try to reveal the video, the tapes, is because it's going to show what justify you shooting that young brother. You ain't going to have no answers, and so guess what's going to happen? They're going to have to convict this cat. They hoping, they trying to look at it, study it, trying to come up with a way that maybe they can twist it. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And again, it doesn't give no solace to the fact that the young brother is gone, lost his life, And then you see at the end that they did catch who they claim. Again, we don't know whether that brother did it either. And again, because if you ain't showed no, footage of what took of the event, no one can even say whether he was there. But they saying they got their man, which is they saying he is the one. But that doesn't bring back Bradford Jr. They don't bring him back, right? And so the only thing left now for them to try to get some justice out of the situation is to hold somebody accountable. It gets monotonous at times when we keep seeing these stories over and over again. As that Trump, I think his name Trump, right? The one that was Trayvon's lawyer. I don't know how he became that guy. He don't win. He never wins, right? When you look at this case, he never wins. But he seemed to always be right there, right? But the one thing he did say that I can agree with is that, you can be doing the right things. You can have all the credentials and license in that situation, but by you being who you are and having that in your hand, go back if you ever never read the ISIS paper where Francis Cress Welsing talked about that you already have a weapon even when you ain't got a weapon, right? She broke that down as your phallus, right? Your phallus between your legs is like a gun, like it's a weapon of mass destruction because it can wipe them off the planet. So you already armed when you're not armed, and then when you got a gun, you double armed, right? So you just already extreme threat, in the psychosis of some of these individuals. And so they only see you as the target, the perp, as they say, right? So they got to eliminate the perp, right? Whether you innocent or not, doesn't matter. We'll deal with that. We shoot first and ask questions later. And if we wrong, well, the city will pay for it, right? I think that paying the check is going to, bring some closure to a situation with somebody who you affiliated, love, who has same blood. No, it don't work like that. So, old school Beretta say, don't do the crime if you can do the time. Right? That's what's going to have to happen. A lot of them going to have to get it. You're going to have to get your ass in there and deal with it. So hopefully as time goes on, we'll be revealing some more about that story as it get closer. Because again, they got to deal with the police now. You're going to bury the son. But then now it's about that situations. Because matter of fact, if you think about it, what about what happened over there in Texas, right? About the one with the cop, the woman. They done hid that so well. It's nowhere to even be seen, right? They ain't even talking about that. They still haven't really revealed who she is. All right, so again, when these situations happen, if they want to talk about justice and talk about what's right, you're going to have to do what's right. Otherwise, there will be no credibility in none of it, which we already know. We know better than that. So since we're talking about this justice system, right, I got one more story. This one here, right? It used to be a time when I used to be like, man, there's some things I say they going to always be number one at, right? You know when you see what I'm talking about. There's some things you just be like, they won't be number one, right? Like I said, we say the greatest man killer on the planet. And you'll get the envelope. You don't even need to open the envelope. You know who that's going to be, right? But according to this story here, they used to be number one. Matter of fact, if you go back about maybe last month, I did that story about, what was his, Neil Hogel? Anybody remember that? Neil Hogel. That was the dude that went, he was killing up all them people, was over there giving them, putting that sugar, or the stuff that the grind salt that come out of the metal in people's sandwiches, and he had been killing. No, matter of fact, it was a nurse, right? Neil Hogel was the nurse that was going around and syringing mugs and getting them into cardiac arrest, and then trying to impress his friends, trying to revive them back, that he killed so many, right? Well, he was number one. He was the most prolific killer. But I've seen this, man, and I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, I guess we have the propensity to get that done. We can hold that at number one, and guess what? Sit back and watch this. He proved it right here. It can be done.
The most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. 78-year-old Samuel Little currently sits in a Texas jail cell where he now claims to have murdered more than 90 people in nearly half a century.
The details he gave were so close to what happened, law enforcement authorities were able to close these cases out.
The FBI says so far they've corroborated 36 of those murders. But this morning, they're asking local law enforcement agencies and the public for help, looking to connect Little to nearly 60 murders in 16 states across the country, occurring over a span of more than 40 years. Little eluded police for decades. It wasn't until he was arrested in 2012 on a narcotics charge that police began to connect the dots, his DNA linking him to 3 unsolved homicide victims from the 80s. Then this year, a Texas Ranger paid him a visit in prison, and Little started talking.
James Holland, get him to detail these horrible crimes that he committed.
Little allegedly detailing how he picked up vulnerable women, often involved in drugs or prostitution, and then strangled them, often in the back seat of his car. In many cases, their deaths were either not investigated or it occurred before DNA profiling was readily available. His confessions stirring up cold cases across the country, with many families still seeking closure.
It's a very difficult time, but I'm glad it's over.
Lindsay Davis, ABC News, New York.
A convicted murderer say he killed 90 people and got away with it. The FBI believes him. You know I'm going to say that again. A convicted 90 people and got away with it. The FBI believes him. This story was done today, November 29, 2018, and this is how this reads. It says Samuel Little was hoping to move prison this past spring. The 78-year-old was spending the rest of his life in prison after being convicted of killing 3 people, but his name had popped up in the FBI Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, known as VCAP, in connection with a series of unsolved murders across the country. One killing in Odessa, Texas, appeared to be particularly relevant. So 2 FBI crime analysts and James Holland of the Texas Ranger went out to see Little to try to get him to talk. He was more willing than willing, according to the FBI. Over the course of that interview in May, VCAP crime analyst Christina Palazzolo said in an FBI article, he went through city and state and gave Rangers Holland the number of people he killed in each place. Jackson, Mississippi 1, Cincinnati, Ohio 1, Phoenix, Arizona 3, Las Vegas, Nevada 1. And all Little confessed to about 90 murders in that interview and in others, according to the Texas Rangers and the FBI. The killing occurred across the country from Los Angeles to Miami, Houston to Cleveland, all between 1970 and 2005. Investigators have confirmed 34 of the confessed killings. Authorities said many more are pending confirmation and number remain uncorroborated. Still, the stunning confession could make Little the most prolific serial killer in the United States history if convicted, according to Ector County District Attorney Bobby Bland. There's been a lot of cooperation from law enforcement across the country as Texas Rangers are in the process of verifying the murders, Bland told CNN. Little targeted marginalized and vulnerable women who were often involved in prostitution or addicted to drugs, the FBI article said. Palazios and Angela Williamson, a Justice Department advisor, and V.K. Vliason, who both spoke to Little, said that he remembered great details from the killings. He remembered where he was, what car he was driving, and could even draw pictures of the women he killed, the FBI said. He was less reliable on the dates of those incidents, however, the FBI said. CNN has reached out to E.J. Leach, the attorney representing Little in the Texas case, and has not yet received a response. How he got here. Little was serving 3 consecutive life sentences for murders he committed in Los Angeles County, according to Bland. In the story on its website, the FBI said Little has previously faced shoplifting, fraud, drug solicitation, and breaking and entering charges in the past. In September 2012, he was arrested at a Kentucky homeless shelter and extradited to California, where he was wanted on a narcotics charge, the FBI said. Once he was in custody, Los Angeles Police Department detectives obtained a DNA match to Little on the victim in 3 unsolved homicides from 1987 and 1989 and charged him with 3 counts of murder, the FBI said. The victims, all women, had been beaten and then strangled, and their bodies were dumped in the alley, a dumpster, and a garage. The FBI said he pleaded his innocence but was convicted in 2014, the FBI said. Authorities in Los Angeles passed his DNA on to the FBI VCAP program to get a full background on him, and VCAP then reached out to the Texas Rangers to look into the killings of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa. Bland said Little provided details indicated that he was responsible for the death of the brothers, who found strangled to death in a vacant parking lot 2 blocks away from a hotel or motel in January of 1994. A grand jury returned an indictment against Little, according to Bland. On July 16, Little was extradited from California to Texas to face charges in the brothers' case. He appeared in Ector County Court on Monday, CNN affiliates KWES reported. A status hearing is set for two weeks. Over the course of the next several months, Little, also known as Samuel McDowell, cooperated with authorities and provided additional details on approximately 90 slayings that Little said he committed, according to Bland. James Holland, a Texas Ranger trained in cold cases, visited Little in a California jail and over time gained his trust, Bland said. The Texas Rangers are still in the process of verifying many of the killings, and none of the information that Little has provided has been disproved, Bland said. No formal charges on any of the additional killings have yet been brought. Now in poor health, Little remains in custody in Odessa and Hollins and has been conducting nearly daily interviews to get the most accurate and full picture of his confessions, the FBI said. The Texas Department of Public Safety has declined comments. Okay. 90 killings. So they mostly all women, right? Over a long span of period of time. He had already been incarcerated, already on life sentence, so he decided to, well, hey, I got some more. You want to hear the stories? Well, here it go. And so they start putting the pieces together of the things he had talked about, and his being detailed and graphic and actually even drawing, his victims. They said this cat actually must have did this, right? So now they're going back and tracing, so they're up to 36. So before it's probably over, maybe they attribute to him, because if they say the FBI believe him, he's going to probably be number one. You used to think that we couldn't do something like that, right? There used to be a time when, you know, you watch the news and certain crimes you just knew ethnicity, right? Let's be real about it, right? Okay, we know it's always been about race. We know some certain crimes we like you just know who it. But in this day and age, you can't say that no more. And people are all just kind of just, you know, again, the melting pot. Everybody done fused in. They all part of the culture. They all been raised under the same tutelage of society, of what the norms and dysfunctions and all that. So now it's kind of, I mean, there's still some parts where you can't tell what's what, but, you know, people vibing for that #1 spot on a lot of things these days. When it used to be, you know, ethnicity specific. It's not like that anymore. So here it is. Man is about 75 years old. He already in poor health. Matter of fact, let me give you a picture of him. Close up. I think I got a picture of him, right? So let me show you this. You know. All right. So somebody say, yeah, I show my people too I don't know, I can't say my people. I'm just gonna say I see a man that looked like he could be, you know, look like, I'm not sure what it is, but again, that's the picture who they said, and Mr. Little, and you know, but again, you know, there's been some prolific killers prior to him. I think there was the John Wayne Gacy, there was the Jeffrey Dahmer, and you know, and that list go on and on. But I said, when they get done, he's going to be #1, and it's going to have that face, that ethnicity attached to it. You understand? So you know, I don't think that's something good to be having. You know what I mean? I mean, where do you get in you to get to that place to do that? You know, is that what this country breeds, or is that just something genetic, or the dude trauma his life that, again, cause let's say if 90 are all women, then there had to be something about him and women. You know what I'm saying? And again, it says some of the modus operandi, the way he worked, it seemed like it was a certain type, like he was a prostitute or a drug. Them the ones he would get and we'll off them off, right? So again, there's nothing, you know, it's tragic all the way around. But I mean, just, you know, ain't too much else to be said on that, right? So I'm pretty much closed up for the show tonight, y'all. I want to thank everybody who stopped over here tonight. I'm at the 2:15 mark. I got Yaya Abdul Kabir. What's good? I ain't seen you in a minute. Thought you done unsubscribed from me and went on about your long hair, but I'm glad to see you, Mr. Bay. I was reading some stuff, man. That Bay go back to lieutenants that was part of that Ottoman Empire, wasn't it, huh? Lorenzo Wayne, what's good? Fort Worth in the house, huh? You knew about that story, huh, Lorenz? You knew about that, huh? Okay. I'm glad to see y'all in here, man. Give me a like or a dislike. You know, let me hold something, right? Let me hold something. Again, I'm working on trying to get this show to be a lot earlier, because I know a lot of people got to work and so forth. But this is the time right now that I can do it, so I'm working hard at it. And again, show getting a little bit more crisp. I think y'all can tell. You can see that it's getting a little bit more crisp. I'll be back in the backgrounds, fine tuning shit up. It still got a little bit somewhere, but I'm gonna get it doing, and then I'm gonna be able to have you come on and Digitus and so forth, and get this panel and gonna get it cracking. Cause I got to get out this block they got me locked in. I got to get out of here. But again, I want to say, good to the fam, subscribers and all that. You know how it is. We black. We all we got. Get a universal nod when you see one another, man. Take some of the disdain and hate off, because, as this keep continuing in the way we seeing it, we seeing where this is going. So we need to be understanding that and having love for one another and understand this is what you got. Whether I might be coming from your mama or you ain't coming from mine, but we got something akin and we got something somewhere we all won. And we better recognize that. So until then, it's peace, love. Some people say coconut grease. I don't know about that. I have old hair grease myself, some Afro sheen, right? So anyway, to the next show, y'all. Peace, love, y'all. I wouldn't do the calling, but it's getting shoddy, so we're doing the next row.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything. Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of up the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not designed with black people in mind. Right on, brother. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they've died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of the remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly. Despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like prick!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. And he calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally, it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife
booked me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm gonna go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm gonna stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not gonna let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm gonna call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government gonna get you.